Hey, this is Chris Franco, and you are listening to Compound Money Quietly, the CMQ Investing Podcast. CMQ investors, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. I just one-taked this episode, and by the way, this episode is designed to be one-taked. Here's the problem. I wasn't recording. So I do this episode, one-take it. I felt great about it. And, didn't hit the record button. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to one-take it. And this is not something that I'm doing just to do it. This is actually a format that if you've been an early follower, an early supporter of CMQ Investing, and you've been a subscriber to our newsletter at cmqinvesting.substack.com, then you might remember when we were doing demo episodes of the Compound Money Quietly podcast. All of the demo episodes made it over to the official iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify version of Compound Money Quietly. One of them did not make the final cut, and that was one that used the format that we are about to use right now. One of the reasons I'm doing another version of this is because, just as you listen to the podcast, I listen to you. And one of our loyal followers, listeners, subscribers, and just a friend of Compound Money Quietly is Tyler from Augury Research. Tyler really liked that format, and so Tyler has encouraged me to do another one like that. So here we go. Let me begin. Some of you may know this. I don't think many of you do, but I moved to New York City about 10 years ago. I think it's been about 10 years. Now, New York, living here, being here, working here, starting a business here, all these things have been great for me. I've made great friends. I have family nearby. It's great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's been a grind. I've worked my face off. There's been also plenty of bumps and taken plenty of L's along the way. But it's all about the long term, and I wouldn't trade any of it because, I care about growth, and New York has been a place where I've been able to grow in a way that I don't think I would be able to anywhere else. One of the negative side effects of that much time in New York City is I have a lot more skepticism than I did previously. I kind of look at things like, what's this person trying to pull? That question pops up in your mind a lot faster, or at least in my mind a lot faster than it did 10 years ago. Now, is all that because I'm in New York City? No, but it's definitely a New York state of mind. I say all that to call out this. I was reading Robinhood's S1, and I came across very quickly some testimonials about Robinhood that are in the S1. And let me read you two of them. This one comes from David, who is 60. David says, "I love finding companies that are doing things I care about. It makes me feel like I'm part of their cause." And then Jenna, who is 22, says, "In a male-dominated world, it's really important for women to invest." By the way, I'm not taking any issue with that first sentence. It's this next sentence. "I feel good when I can chime in. It gives me a confidence boost." To David and Jenna, I say, what are you talking about? Now, it might be really easy to just kind of say, hey, they don't know what they're doing. You get what you deserve. I guess you should have done your research. It's really easy to do that, but I'm not like that. And that's not the point. The point is, there is this idea, and I'm seeing it more and more, and I want to hear from you if you're noticing it. But it's this idea that investing or buying a stock is something like buying a baseball card for your baseball card collection, or a Beanie Baby for your Beanie Baby collection. As if your portfolio itself is like this collection that you build, and it's almost like your MySpace page. It shows your personality and what you represent. That sounds great, but that is a horrible idea if you're serious about investing. Let me explain a little bit more about why I feel compelled kind of now to talk about this. So episode 11, let's take it back another step. Episode 11 of this podcast that you are listening to right now was about Warren Buffett versus Robinhood. And I quoted Robinhood's press release, which was put out in response to something that Warren Buffett said. You can listen to episode 11 to know all the details. But this is a quote from Robinhood's press release. And I quote, "Take Berkshire Hathaway Class A stock. One share trades for north of $400,000. But with Robinhood, fans of the company can invest what they can afford and don't need to amass what is a prohibitive sum for most Americans. Now, I called this out in that episode, but there's something called Berkshire B. So it's just like, go figure, Robinhood. You can't be honest about anything. You can't be just straight up about anything. But that's not the point of this episode. My issue is the language. They said fans of the company. It's great to be a fan. I'm a fan of a lot of things. But fan is not investor. Fans don't invest. Fans tailgate. Fans are in their feelings. Fans fanboy. Now let's take it back to a tweet from Elon Musk on January 28th, 2021. His tweet reads as follows: buy and hold companies that make goods and produce services that you love. Buy and hold companies that make goods and produce services that you love. Okay, well, look, terrible advice. I think Tesla produces something that I think is great, but I wouldn't touch the business with a 10-foot pole. I don't have, first and foremost, at a certain point, something's just overpriced. And second of all, I missed the boat on Tesla, right? Like, to jump in now is just hurting. So that's the reason, by the way. The other reason is, look, I can't project the future with any certainty about Tesla. Like, I'm not Kathy Wood with Wright's Law or whatever she uses to justify pretty much anything happening. It's like, well, Wright's Law says, no offense to Kathy Wood, by the way. I think Kathy Wood is really cool. But this is just, again, nonsensical. I'm not going to buy Tesla. I'm not going to buy a piece of Tesla's business because it's overpriced in my view. And the fundamentals have some serious issues. There's a lot of competitive threats. I could go on and on. But Elon Musk is saying, no, buy and hold companies that make goods and produce services you love. But there are plenty of companies, and if I had another 24 hours in this day, I would go and find all the companies that make goods and produce services that I love. And I would see how many of them, and I'd get the data, how many of them are terribly run businesses. And these are publicly traded businesses we're talking about, right? So I'm sure there's plenty of them that you would say, they have a lot of debt, or they're not really making much of a profit. So you should buy and hold those companies and just think they're going to get better? Think that something's going to change now that, you're there to support, to chime in? Or is it, I feel good when I can chime in. It gives me a confidence boost. What are you chiming in on? Did I miss something? Like, does she have preferred shares? Is she get a board seat? When you buy on Robinhood, do they hook you up like a randomized, like gamified lottery where you become a board member of that company for a week or something? What are these people talking about? And again, I don't blame the people. I blame what I am now seeing as sort of this growing narrative. Now, let me wrap this up in a way that kind of tosses the ball in your court. Is there an incentive at play here, a financial incentive, or folks like Elon Musk, for people like, I'm probably not going to say his name perfectly, Chamath, who is, he is the SPAC king. Is there a financial incentive for them to tell people that that's the way that you should invest? Because if, let's say, well, here's what Robinhood says. They say 20% of the total market activity is driven by retail investors. That's, individual investors like you and me. If that's the case, wouldn't it be good for Clover Health, which I think is one of those companies that has been brought public, or I don't even know the language for SPACs. I stay away from SPACs. But that is something that would probably be good for someone like Chamath, who has a loyal following, I can tell, or at least it seems like, among, let's say, 18 to 24-year-old investors who probably many of them use Robinhood, and that's fine. But yeah, if you just get them to buy and hold, and no matter what happens underneath the hood, ignore it, just keep on going because we're all part of this movement. I mean, I would think that's really good for Chamath financially, right? That probably keeps the stock price buoyed up to a certain point, definitely well above where it should be if people were treating investing like it's investing and looking at stocks not like collectibles, but as pieces of businesses. You see what I'm saying? Now, I could be totally paranoid, or like I said, paranoid's not the right word, but let's say I am overly skeptical and there's a really easy explanation for this. But do me a favor, keep an eye out, keep an ear open for that kind of language being used when it comes to things like investing and buying stocks. be a fan, you can support, you can be part of. That is fundamentally not aligned with what you want. One of the biggest ideas that just clicked with me when I was in my 20s, when I started getting serious about wanting to understand money, was that your money should be working for you. When you make money, put your money to work for you. Have your money go make more money. That's how you should be thinking about your investments. Don't let your money do work for someone else. Don't let your money serve someone else's agenda. Make sure it's serving yours. And the best way to do that is to treat a stock like what it is. It's a piece of a business, and it's an opportunity for you to make your life a lot easier in the future, for you to do something that could benefit your family for generations. It doesn't mean you have to become a billionaire, but especially if you're a young investor, you have a huge advantage through time. Allow compounding to work. Do not interrupt the process by falling for some of this I don't even know what to call it. As I said, maybe I'm just too skeptical. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can email me, franco@cmqinvesting.com. You can send me a direct message through the Instagram page @CharlieMungerQuotes. You could tweet me or DM me on Twitter @ChrisFranco. There is a lot of messages, or more than I ever expected getting, so please forgive me if I don't get back to you right away, but I do try to get back to everyone. If you're annoyed because you're not hearing back from me, just send me a follow-up. Just say, hey, Franco, I'm a listener. You said you're listening to me. How come you're not answering? And I will be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. As always, appreciate you for supporting CMQ Investing, for listening, for subscribing to our newsletter at cmqinvesting.substack.com, for following Charlie Munger Quotes. What we're doing here is we're just trying to add value. And it wouldn't be possible without the value that you add by being part of it, by being part of, I hate to say journey. It sounds so corny, but that's what this is. We are compounding something together, and I'm excited to see where it continues to go. Excited to hear back from you about this episode. And if you like this format, like my boy Tyler at Augury Research, who, by the way, follow Augury Research on Instagram as well. The handle is @Augury Investing, and that's AUGURY Investing. If you like the format, if you're cool with me doing these sort of off-the-cuff, impassioned rants, let me know. If you don't like it, please don't one-star us. I'm very proud of our collection of reviews, not because we need the vanity, but because it lets me know that we're creating real value for you. I know it's not always something that I'm excited to do, meaning I'm not always excited, hey, let me leave a review. So I know when you make that effort, it means something. So thank you. Once again, this is Compound Money Quietly, the CMQ Investing Podcast. My name is Chris Franco. We'll talk soon.